We left off in our last episode with a pretty rough ending to our passage up from the British Virgin Islands. Pulling into this quiet little anchorage in the Outer Banks felt like a total reset. Exactly what we needed. Flat, calm, and peaceful. We took a day and a half to rest before pushing onwards. We didn't have the wind to sail, but honestly, we didn't mind. It was a lazy, comfortable 15-hour motor up the coast, which felt like a nice breather, especially knowing that we'd be kicking it into high gear as soon as we arrived at our destination. Although we prefer to be out on anchor, we had to pull into a marina. We decided to take on a huge DIY project, something that we'd never done before, but meant that we'd save a ton of money, test out what we're actually capable of, and hopefully get it all done in the short window that we had. Summer's just around the corner, and we plan to be north. Very north, sailing higher latitudes with rugged landscapes and harsher conditions. Our custom 45-foot aluminum sailboat is built for the task, but we've got a lot of work to do out here to dial her in and make her comfortable when we're on the move and standing watch at the helm. Hey guys, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. And as you can see,
Project mode.
full on project mode. We've been on a dock for about a week now, and I think we only got another week or so. So we're trying to hammer this thing out. I'm up at the crack of dawn and working till the sun sets.
And it's hard when we do get rainy days, so it's been a slow go, but as you can see, we've got some fabric up.
Yeah, fabric's up. Just got to add the windows to it, and just a bunch of little fine tuning.
And then it'll be the full enclosure that we've been talking about for a while now, that we so badly need to protect us from the wind, the rain, the cold, and just, the salt, big one for you.
Salt,
and just
yeah.
have overall comforts while we're sailing, while we're moving out here in the cockpit.
Yeah, we're gonna turn this outdoor space into an indoor living space.
Yeah, so there have been a lot of challenges along the way. It's kind of just been like a winging it. Like there's been no template, no instructions, nothing. Literally just piece by piece, step by step, seeing what will work and what might not work as how we thought it may have, like by the time we get to it, and then it becomes like a whole revamping process.
Yeah,
as well.
I've never done canvas work before, and I can tell you it is tough. I am sure there is like tricks to doing this all. I definitely know there is, and I'm doing it the hardest way. I guarantee I am.
So what we did was take some of this luff track, screwed it all along the inside of the bimini so that it's hidden. Also did that on the hard dodger. So luff tape onto the canvas, slides into the track.
So we decided to do this way, put all this umbrella up first, and then cut out the windows, because I thought I could use the cutouts for sunshades after. That was my sort of plan, because I do want sunshades. But I do know other people actually like cut the window out and then build around the window, and then that's a little easier, but I don't know, just winging it as we go.
Panel by panel. So we started off with the biggest pieces, which are the side pieces on our port and starboard, and then the one on the back that's right here. The trickier ones are the conjoining pieces, like the curved pieces on the sides.
Yeah, like the ones that connect the dodger to sort of the bimini.
That's not too shabby, it's tight.
That's it. Touches at the top of it, but the gap's fairly even the rest of the way down. Can I be that picky?
You are that picky.
No, but I just don't have the skills to be that picky for this type of work.
But you have the determination to be that picky. Excited when we can move on from getting all the canvas pieces up and like we cut windows.
Yeah.
And that's when it's gonna start looking like an enclosure versus like this little tent that we've got going on.
Building the full sunshade cover for the kids, yeah.
So we're just flattening out the isinglass that we got. It came in a big roll. So we're laying it out in the sun just so it can soften and flatten out. Is that right?
Yep, this is our front window, so it's the thickest. We went with a 60 gauge Strataglass. But yeah, I'm gonna let the sun just relax it and then draw on the template. Woohoo!
Originally we wanted to go with like a macaron, the really hard stuff for our front window because that's what we had on our first boat, and we loved the clarity of it when it was brand new. It literally looked like there was no window. It was so clear. But I don't know if we just got the bad stuff despite thinking we got the Marine 5, which is like the UV protected highest level of that sort of material. But ours crazed and yellowed after a year and a half in the Caribbean, which was such a bummer because it is pretty expensive stuff. We did get some quotes for the material, but it was gonna be an insane amount of money for one sheet, and I don't even know if our sewing machine would have been able to even sew through that. So it was gonna be a pretty expensive test. So we just decided to go with the 60 gauge like soft roll-up stuff, the isinglass. Is that like the brand? I think that's the generic name, right? Like the
isinglass generic.
Did we get Strata?
Yes, we went with Strata.
Okay, so we went with the brand Strata, but it's like a type of isinglass. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's called like a bunch of stuff, but it's the soft roll-up stuff, essentially. And we think that with this gauge, it's gonna be thick enough that we're gonna be able to get it like tight enough. Like it'll be thick, like not, I don't know, is that what we're hoping for?
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping for.
We decided to go with the isinglass because it is half the price, and I should be able to sew it much easier. And because our front window is pretty straight, I think we can get really good optical clarity out of the isinglass versus like trying to bend it around a Dodger. Then I'd be like, I'm not gonna get it perfect. But it's one straight piece, so knock on wood that I'll nail it and it'll just be like a perfectly clear sheet. And it'll be more resistant scratches and UV apparently towards the polycarbonate stuff.
In comparison to the polycarbonate stuff?
Yeah. Even though nothing should touch it ever besides just a wash. So we'll give it a go. But another reason was because I need to use some of this material for our side curtains as well. So the polycarbonate would have been maybe too difficult for that and we wouldn't know where to put them. So hopefully we'll be able to roll it up and yeah. I don't know, we're making this up as we go. Like, I can tell you right now, this has been a struggle fest times 10.
This part's exciting because we're working with a different medium. We've been looking at canvas forever and now we're on the glass.
Gonna give Steph a go. Her hand might be a little more stable, but it is a moving dock.
I don't know why you chose to put it on the moving dock instead of like here, the ground.
Nice steady hand. Well, okay, maybe not.
We moved it over to the ground, but the problem is there's texture and it's rough with little rocks on the bottom. And as we're pressing down on it, we're noticing that even with the paper and the cardboard that we have underneath, like we're getting a little bit of speckling, like we're getting impressions. The scissors actually look easier. How is it cutting with them? Because it's really thick.
These are dull.
After cutting out the glass, just put some luff tape on the edge here with some double-sided tape to hold it in place before sewing it down.
And then I'm gonna put double-sided bias tape. I wish I had a 1-inch, but then I'm gonna put that on the outside, just like kind of like that. So then it just hides the reveal, and hopefully it looks good.
Just to make it look a little cleaner?
Yeah, just so you don't see that. But I wish I had 1 inch. I only got 3/4 inch, but yeah, well.
This is a piece of that luff track that we are going to be sliding it into, and we're just going to test it here. We have this all over the top of the Dodger already, but figured we'd give it a test on land here. It doesn't fit.
That's the bottom one anyways.
It does. It fits perfect. Look at that. I want to peel this paper off and see what it looks like. Okay, so we've been having a little bit of an issue trying to slide the front window in the tracks on the top and the bottom. We've unscrewed the luff track so that we can just manually fit it into the track, and then we'll re-screw the track onto the Dodger. Hopefully that works. Oh, sewing rolls are done.
We've got treats for after.
So what Travis is doing is just templating out the rest of our 60 gauge glass that we used for the big front window, because we're going to be utilizing it for conjoining piece that connect the Dodger to the large panels on the sides. What we've kind of learned in the process is that nothing is perfectly symmetrical on the boat from one side to the other, nor are there ever any like true straight lines. We didn't think that we were going to do vertical windows, and usually you see horizontal windows on an enclosure, and we thought maybe that was the reason why, but unfortunately that is the way that we're gonna have to go with the windows on that piece I just showed you, because we're trying to maximize all of the material that we have without having to go out and buy a whole extra roll of glass just to make it one solid window, because A, it would be really expensive, we'd have a lot of waste because we don't need that much more, and B, it's a long weekend, everything's closed, and that would set us back quite a while. I think the lines will still go well with the overall look of the windows and the shapes that we have, but yeah, that's what we're gonna do, because that's what we've got to work with.
I think we should have like just enough to make those side curtains with what we have. We'll see how it looks. If it's not like 100% how we like it, then I guess we can always go to plan B, which then order it out and cover the whole thing. It'd just be a pain in the butt, but
Pain in the butt.
pain in the butt, but at least we could use up this now and see if it works and
Save some money.
And save some money and
some time.
Yeah. Because yeah, just we would be wasting so much of the next piece.
For the big windows, we chose 30 gauge strata glass, as we plan to roll these up often for more airflow. And we're stitching everything together with PTFE lifetime thread, which claims 100% permanent UV and weather resistance, so it'll probably outlast this umbrella marine canvas that it's sewn into.
Getting frustrated. The machine jumps. I don't know what it's doing.
We realized that the frustration came from the needle getting gummed up by the adhesive in the tape that we used between the webbing and the canvas. It made the stitches skip and the machine act up constantly. So strategic placement of the tape was key. So this is kind of interesting. You sewed the glass on it before cutting it out. So you're marking the back and you've got a little slit, like a relief slit right there that you're going to cut it out of. Is that the idea?
And then follow this mark and then tuck it in and then do a sew another stitch. Apparently that's the only way you want to do it if you're sewing a window into canvas versus like sewing canvas around the window. Otherwise it would be wrinkly and it'd just be a nightmare apparently. So that's what they say to do. It was the only thing I researched on this whole project.
Wow, a window.
The hot knife was an invaluable tool for this project, and we're so glad we didn't cheap out on getting it. It sealed every cut clean, where scissors would have just left us with a mess of frayed canvas edges. Okay guys, this is exciting. I think we're just about there. Are we ready to show the final product?
Yeah. Oh.
What
Can you grab the revolve boat hook?
Oh no!
Oh no.
Storage on a sailboat is limited, and we've always said that items we carry must serve at least two functions. Crafted with an advanced composite material, the Revolve rollable boat hook is sturdy and snaps into shape in seconds. It floats thanks to the high visibility foam handle, so no worries if it goes overboard. We've had it for about 2 years now, and we use it to grab mooring balls, push off from the dock, or in today's case, rescue things that go over. And now you can wash the boat with that too.
Yeah. Which is actually my personal favorite, is the soft bristle wash head.
Yeah, I think they've got a stiff one too, but this is the soft.
Yeah, this is the soft bristle, because I kind of just wash over everything and I don't have to worry about the hatches or anything.
So we're gonna wash the boat and then we're gonna do the big reveal.
Yes.
Less clutter and more versatility is what all of us sailors can appreciate. It rolls back up easily and tucks away in seconds, ultra compact. Use our code sailingjibsea at checkout and get 10% off. Guys, check it out, our full enclosure. Done. We love it. Love it, love it, love it. Whew. It was hot in there. We are definitely going to be warm in that cockpit.
So here's our windows. We were a bit humming and hawing about them if we liked them.
They've grown on us.
They're growing on us. It's got its own look. But at least we didn't have to buy any more material. It's enclosed.
Initial thoughts when I saw the two windows, because obviously we would have liked one big window for like visibility, you just get more window. But that's all the material we had, and I was like, I don't know if I like these lines. And we were seriously contemplating buying a full other sheet of glass, but we would have had to essentially buy a whole roll for how much we needed for both windows just to fix this section. And that would have cost us like, I think like 500 Canadian and time. So I took a photo of this, got it on the computer, started playing around, like editing it out to see what it would look like if we had the full window and how we changed the lines. And we actually didn't like it. And this has grown on us because this whole boat is like custom and funky, and the shapes kind of go in. I don't know if you can tell, but like the way that the Dodger kind of goes inwards, I feel like this with these angles matches it. Like it just suits it. So
Well, that was the plan, to try to match this window with that, but it kind of came down a little bit. I was hoping it'd be a little bit more straight, but
it was like the angles we didn't love. Like we could have done little tweaks, but we thought, hey, let's buy a whole new glass and make one window, and that was kind of like, we wouldn't have loved it as much and it would have been extra money, so I'm glad we're keeping it the way it is.
And it just would have been a huge waste of material.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. So I actually like when we're inside the windows because it looks kind of like a spaceship. You can kind of see it, I love it. This thing was incredibly hard to do because, you know, we got a curved edge there, a curved edge there, and we're sliding it into a track. And I think it came out tight enough. Like,
yeah, like the clarity's great. From even, like, you know, I'm back here, it looks clear.
Yeah, we got a lot of room from the bottom of the boom there to this, probably like 1.5 inches, 2 inches.
This is freaking awesome. And then look at the cushions that we bought some.
Like, oh god, yeah, it's total.
Those pillows we just bought from Marshall's, and then we purchased some Sombrella upholstery.
So it's like a softer canvas.
And now we've got some big comfy pillows for, like, we're gonna be so comfy in here. This is gonna be awesome.
Well, now that these, like, the cushions can stay out here and they can live out here.
We can live out here. We're not like scurrying in when it's raining.
Yeah. So what I really like is we can actually winch with everything enclosed. This stitch right here, like this bottom one, is actually, the glass is sewn on the outside of the left track versus this one. A lot of the times you sew the isinglass on the inside, and what happens is when the rain drips, it stops on that bottom lip of the glass and then it drips inside. So I sewed the isinglass on the outside.
So all the water is gonna stay outside.
It should. I just have to caulk this little section up here. This is really complicated because these had to unzip here. So then this is like a little airflow. So now we can have air come in on either side while not removing it.
So those will probably stay up the majority of the time.
Yeah. Or snaps there. Zips up this way. The only bummer is it's not totally accessible for like just easily rolling out, because this is the 60 gauge strata. We had to use a bit of this material for here and then the 30. So it's a little stiffer, but that's fine. You can still like perfectly just tuck that in here. Go to the foredeck and then just come back in. That actually seems horrible, but I didn't undo that one.
I feel like the overall shape of this whole thing, like you were talking about how it caves in, the different angles, it kind of matches our dinghy up front.
Yeah, it's sharp angles.
Suits the boat.
What I also did was see the gap from the top to the bottom. I measured that out, so I'll show you in the back when that's rolled up. I wanted a bigger space here, so when we roll these up, you only see black. You don't see the isinglass.
We had this conversation about what color thread to get when we were, you know, adding everything to the cart to order. And Travis was like, do you want white thread or black thread? And I was like, black thread. And he said, oh, I think we should do white because it'll be a nice contrast because boat's white. Thank goodness we did not get white thread.
Yeah, that was a good call on you. I would have literally thrown the whole project out. I would have been like, screw this, because my stitching ain't the greatest.
And plus, like the gumming up of the needle that we explained, how it was like causing it to jump.
It jumps stitches with the PTFE thread. It's like super slippery, and then once you gung out the needle with the double-sided adhesive tape, it just, yeah, we were jumping stitches in certain spots like crazy, so I just like had to de-thread it and then go back over it, and then sometimes I was just mad, so I just left it, or go back over it a bunch. I was like, yeah,
and
so
it
like,
would have looked homemade. Like this doesn't look homemade, I don't think. Like, you know how some you look at and you're like, oh yeah, that was a DIY.
like it's tight enough. Like these are really hard to do because
Do you think it looks homemade?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, but I don't think
know,
it
guys.
looks
Let us
like
know in the
newbie homemade.
Let us know in the comments how you like it, if you think it looks totally homemade. You did such a great job for winging it and like literally being an amateur seamster.
Yeah, I don't want to do it again.
This close, guys. This close to chucking the entire thing. All in all, I am loving this space. It just feels like we have a whole other extension of usable space now on board, which is nice.
And perfect timing for when we're heading north.
Yeah, this was a huge project. We just had to knock off the list before we headed further east, before it gets colder. So I'm glad it's done. It looks good. And pretty much just waiting for weather and then we can go, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool to when we first bought the boat, visualize what we wanted out of this boat and this cockpit.
And now it's like come to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate all of you guys supporting us along this wild adventure that we call our life.
Yep.
And hope that you guys will consider giving us a subscribe. It helps our channel.
Yep.
And leave us a comment. Let us know how we did.
Yeah. Let us know your thoughts. Curious about them. And thanks for watching.
Thank you so much to our patrons, and we will see you in our next episode. Bye.
See ya.